Now, I'm not gonna lie on this one. Tears was kind of maybe almost ran down my eyes as I was reading this story of this salon owner who says she's tired and exhausted by this legal battle that she found herself in with L'Oreal. For those of you who don't know, I am Dave, a 10-year intellectual property attorney dealing with everything from copyrights to patents to trade secrets and trademarks. We're going to be talking about this article. I'm going to share the article, and we're going to be talking about this situation that was first reported, or at least I'm kind of be taking a look at the article that was reported by BBC News of, again, this salon owner who, man, startup company, things are starting to get rolling, and you make a small mistake and you got these big brand companies that they're going to take advantage of it, and they're going to essentially try to drain you out. It seems like this is what happened in her case. And again, the unfortunate part about it is she has spent tens of thousands of dollars on legal fees fighting a battle that she probably is going to win at the end of the day. However, again, the L'Oreal, the big company, they saw a chance to go in, and they're going to make her pay for the mistake. So I guess a couple things as we get off into it. The number one learning lesson is, I know a lot of people, they talk bad about attorneys, and okay, I already know as a startup, you don't have the most money, but you should always try to protect that intellectual property, because I can almost guarantee you that this situation that she found herself in would have never happened if she hired an attorney at the beginning. And maybe she did, and it just wasn't reported in this article. But it seems like you'll see once we get off into the article why I am saying this, that it doesn't appear that she either hired an attorney that essentially helped her get the mark, or she hired that attorney for the purposes of getting the mark, but then at some point in the line kind of terminated that relationship with the attorney, because what happened to her should never happen. And unfortunately, it cost her tens of thousands of dollars. And again, I understand too, because as a startup, you need all the funds that the business is making so that you can continue to try to expand, grow the business, and kind of do bigger things where, man, when you are tied up in legal battles, especially with deep pockets such as L'Oreal, it's just going to be tough to continue to grow, and that affected her growth. As we, again, once we take a look at the article, she had to close some stores as a result of this legal battle that cost her a ton of money. So let's get off into the article, and please hit that like button, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm trying to bring you guys not only these current events from an entertainment perspective, but I'm also trying to give you guys some education as an IP attorney who knows how valuable this intellectual property is. So let's get off into it. The salon owner exhausted by legal battle with L'Oreal. That's what the article reads here. And again, this is fresh, more or less fresh off the press. 6 days ago, this article was. This is a picture of the salon owner and her former trademark NKD. Let's take a look at the article. A salon owner says she has been left exhausted by a long-running legal battle with global cosmetic giant L'Oreal. Look at do those L'Oreal, for whatever reason, I know I'm saying a little bit older, but back when I was like a teen and growing up, I used to always see L'Oreal commercials on the TV. Maybe I just don't watch TV that much, and as a result of them, they don't come across, so I haven't come across them. But you guys have to let me know, for those of you who still watch cable television or get those ads or those commercials on TV. Does L'Oreal still make TV ads or commercials like they used to? I remember back in the day, they used to make a ton of commercials. I haven't seen one in a while, though. So let's go. The French firm is opposing Rebecca's attempt to renew the trademark on the name of her business, NKD, in Leicester City. So again, this is from across the pond. So keep that in mind. I know some of you guys watch the content from across the pond. So this is in Europe, whereas obviously we're in the U.S. So for my U.S. audience, note that not only, although that this is in Europe, it still mostly applies to a situation that could happen in the U.S., which we'll get off to here in a little bit. So let's continue reading here. L'Oreal has its own trademark on a series of beauty products called Naked. It has told the 48-year-old her use of the name NKD will cause consumer confusion. So for those of you who are new to the channel, the whole standard of trademark law and trademark infringement is the likelihood of confusion. In other words, it's really to protect you and I as the consumers. So if we saw L'Oreal's product on what they're calling beauty products that has a trademark term Naked, will we be confused on this 48-year-old Rebecca's, her products, which again, we haven't gotten into that part of the article yet, but it's geared towards or directed towards toiletries, and it's spelled and pronounced NKD. So naked, NKD, beauty products, toiletries. Would it be a likelihood of confusion? Just because they're similar, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's trademark infringement. However, if it's confusingly similar, that's when it rises to the level of trademark infringement, and therefore somebody can come after you for trademark infringement, or somebody can essentially petition to stop your mark being registered. So that's essentially, again, trademark infringement, likelihood of confusion. That's in the US. Now, I know across the pond in Europe, they have a similar standard. I don't know the actual black letter law like I do in America with the likelihood of confusion. But again, it's a similar standard in terms of if it's, confusingly similar, then it can be held to be trademark infringement, and they can a company can stop you from actually getting a trademark. So again, keep that in mind. And again, another thing too, I know a lot of times we talk about patents and being able to kind of file a patent application with the PCT application, which is not a worldwide patent, but it is a worldwide patent application. Then you have to nationalize your patents in the countries that you want to go in, whether it's China, whether it's Japan, whether it's the US, Canada, so forth and so on. On the trademark side, it's a similar process. It's through the Madrid Protocol, where you file this trademark application, and then you likewise have to let them know what countries you want to go in, whether it's in Germany, whether it's in the US, whether it's in China, and so forth. All the member states or the member countries of the Madrid Protocol, you can file that one application, trademark application, and then you can go off into those countries that you want to seek trademark protection in. So I think that was worth letting you guys know. So let's continue on with the application. Rebecca says she spent more than 30,000 euros contesting L'Oreal's opposition to her trademark. Now, I'm not sure. Let me look up here. I'm not sure what 30,000 euros equates to in US dollars. Let's see. But we're going to find out thanks to Google University, euros to US dollars. So it seems like the US dollar is 30,000 euros is almost 33,000 US dollars. So 30,000 euros. So she's has spent the equivalent of almost 33,000 US dollars fighting the big retail brand or cosmetic, makeup, whatever you want to call it, L'Oreal, in opposition to her trademark. But if this was get spicy, the mother of two, hey, you see how the BBC, they throw that in there. That's when they try to kind of loop you in, have you, and it is a sad story, I will say that, but they really kind of hook you when they talk about the mother of two from Nottinghamshire. I'm trying to see where that's at. Said the pressure caused by the dispute has been a factor in her downsizing her business and closing the salon she previously ran in Nottingham. So again, as I said earlier, startup companies need that extra capital, need that extra revenue, not only to continue to run their business, but to continue to expand. It looks like, based on the article, she had to she had essentially downsized her business by closing the salon that she previously ran as a result of the lawsuit. Okay, so I think this is worth going after. Okay, so Rebecca said her NKD product range on the left cannot. Again, we talked about the likelihood of confusion. You guys have to let me know in the comment section. This is Rebecca's, or the startup company, her product NKD on the left of some body balm, and this is L'Oreal's Naked Reloaded. Would you be confused looking at those? Would you think that L'Oreal has somehow got into body balm, somehow got into toiletries, based on this NKD? It's pronounced NKD. It's spelled NKD. Would you be confused by this NKD bottle, thinking that it's somehow associated with Naked, the Naked Reloaded that you see on the right-hand side, which I'm assuming is some type of cosmetic product, makeup of the sorts. Let's continue going on here. L'Oreal told the BBC it had made Rebecca an offer that supports her business aspirations. Again, that's what L'Oreal is telling the BBC. I'm assuming that offer was not was not good for Rebecca. It seems like, however, Rebecca disputed that, claiming that the firm had continued to oppose her trademark application to register NKD as trademark for toiletries. This is where it starts to get spicy. Rebecca registered NKD as a trademark when she launched her business in 2009. but said her problems began when that expired 10 years later. So essentially, let me paint this picture for you. Rebecca had a trademark on her product, on her brand, on her word, NKD. But trademark lasts forever as long as you are using it. And what you have to do is every so often, in this case, 10 years, you have to file what is called, you have to pay your maintenance fees. Essentially, they want money. So you have to pay your maintenance fee to essentially renew or keep your trademark active. So it seems like she's saying that, let's go to the article here. So what they're saying is she launched her business in 2009. So the business has been 15 years in a running, which is crazy to have a business 15 years. That lets me know that, hey, she's on to something if her business has lasted over 15 years. But then she said the problem began 15 years ago. I mean, 10 years has begun when a trademark expired. So I would imagine in 2009. She said she had 6-month window to renew it before she forgot. So this is why I'm telling you. Hire an attorney at the beginning, or at least get an attorney on your side. You don't have to be paying these guys monthly or whatever the case may be, but you're going to need them at some point. Newsflash to everybody who's running a business, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a technology company, whether you're doing tax services, whether you're doing whatever you're doing at some point, to the extent that you're making it 15 years, you are going to need an attorney. So again, going back to painting the picture, 2009, she starts the business, get the trademark. She has to renew it in 10 years at the 10-year mark. She has a 6-month window to renew it, which again would have put her in 2019. As the article says, she forgets to renew the trademark. What does this mean, David? This means that you no longer have trademark protection. So that's pretty much essentially what does it mean. She's talking. She said she forgot to renew the trademark, and this is why I said an attorney. I can almost guarantee you that probably would never happen. I can't guarantee it because we're all humans, but typically what happens is you get an attorney on your side, you get me on your side, and 6 months before the window comes open or before the trademarks is due, you're going to get an email from me. Hey, Rebecca, hope business is well. Just to let you know, this trademark is becoming renewed. Are you continuing using it? If so, we need to file a renewal by this date. 3 months before that due date is here. Another email. 1 month. Another email. At some point, I'm going to give you a call. Hey, Rebecca, this trademark application is due, to the extent that I haven't heard from you. Now, if you're saying, hey, David, I'm not doing this anymore, go ahead. Let this case go abandoned. I'll let you know that, okay, the trademark is going to be abandoned at that point, and you are no longer going to have protection over it. But in light of your suggestions or your instructions, we will let this application lapse or this trademark lapse. But I'll obviously get that written confirmation. But to the extent that you just are not answering my emails, at some point, I'm going to give you a call and say, hey, Rebecca, this thing is coming due. We need instructions on whether or not we need to file a renewal or pay the maintenance fees or the annuities to keep this thing active or not. I know, again, business owners, you're running a business. This thing is not, even though it should, this thing is not at the forefront of your mind because you got day-to-day operations that you're running. But an attorney, if you have an attorney on your side, they're not going to let you forget this or forget about this, because we understand what can happen as a result of it, which it unfortunately happened. That being the trademark application lapsed. Let's continue reading the application. So she talks about it. I should have renewed it straight away. Shoulda, woulda, coulda is what the people in my neighborhood says. I didn't. That was a big mistake. That's what Rebecca is saying. So then that 6 months window ran into the start of COVID, and chaos ensued for all businesses, including beauty salons. And I mixed the expiration. And to be honest with you, here in the U.S., you could have probably got away with this. I'm not sure what the laws are in the country that you are in, but let's see where she says she's in Nottinghamshire. I'm gonna see what country is Nottinghamshire in. Nottinghamshire. Okay, this is in England, it looks like. So it seems like it's in England. But I'm gonna tell you, here in the U.S., during COVID, the USPTO, United States Patent and Trademark Office, was extremely flexible on businesses, essentially startup businesses or small businesses, not being able to, pay maintenance fees or things going lapse or going abandoned as a result of the COVID issue. I'm not sure why she didn't put forth that or try to, petition to the USPTO that, hey, this was unavoidable or this was unintentional. In the U.S., is what we call as unintentional abandonment, and therefore, hey, I didn't try to let this thing go lapse. COVID, this happened, that happened, and during COVID, they were pretty flexible on that. So I'm not sure if she got an attorney at that point in time to try to save it or revive the trademark. But in the U.S., she probably could have got away with it. I'm not sure what the laws are of England. I would have had to talk to the foreign associate or the England associate to try to work this out. But in the U.S., she probably would, depending on how long it was, she probably would have been able to have an argument, a good faith argument, given the whole COVID thing. So let's so when I came to re-register the trademark, I was essentially starting from scratch, not renewing an existing one. L'Oreal objected on the basis they own the makeup brand, which has a range of eyeshadow palettes called Naked. So it seems like this is an eyeshadow palette. It's Naked Reloaded. Seems like that's what that is. Let's see, where were we? I was surprised because we had never been naked. We spell NKD. We are pronounced NKD. So they're saying that they spell NKD, they're pronounced NKD. And she's saying that to say, hey, nope, it's not a likelihood of confusion, which she's going to go on to say that no consumer of ours was confused by this whole Naked Reloaded, and probably vice versa, which I'll probably agree with. You guys have to let me know in the comment section. Would you agree once you see this whole NKD, her brand, which then we showed up top, this body balm NKD to the left, would you be confused with the Naked Reloaded eyeshadow palette to the right? Again, I think she has a good argument, but unfortunately, she missed the date. So now she has to start from scratch. And now when she files her trademark application in the US here, right before your trademark application publishes or issues, the USPTO publish it for opposition. So essentially anyone who want to oppose the mark can oppose the mark. And it seems like L'Oreal opposed the mark. That's essentially what happened. So she had to start fresh. Like you said, she didn't necessarily have any federal rights, and she had to start from scratch, filed another trademark application. And when it was opposed, when it was published for opposition by the patent office, it seems like L'Oreal said, we got them, we got one. And again, these big companies are going to do this. They have the deep pockets to do it. They have the budget to do it. They're essentially going to try to bleed you dry. So that's it seemed like what's happening in this case, where again, she's already at the U.S. equivalent of almost $33,000 fine in this case, which it seems like if this has been going on since 2019, this has been going on almost 6 years or 5 years rather. So it's unfortunate, but again, let this be a learning lesson for everybody out there. To the extent that you're a startup company, make sure you have an attorney on the team, an intellectual property attorney, because that IP attorney is going to look out for your best interest while you're running the day-to-day business. You're not going to have to keep track of, okay, when this application. Actually, I had someone that you guys would know. I had interviewed him months ago on my podcast, and he told me like, yeah, my application was, I missed the filing date, and I didn't have an attorney. I didn't have a schedule on my calendar, so I just missed the filing date. And again, I'm telling him the same way I told you, you have to get you an attorney, because an attorney, that's our job, is to make sure that we are not keeping up with these due dates. And we would have definitely reached out to you a number of times until we got you, or I would have got on a phone call with you to say, hey, you need to file this, or this thing is going to go abandoned. What you want to do? So it seems like she missed that opportunity. L'Oreal swooped up and said, hey, we got you one. And as a result of that, she found herself in a legal battle that's unfortunately leaving her exhausted, leaving her tired. But this is just part of the game. So again, hopefully you guys got something out of this. Now, in the U.S., she would get common law rights, but those common law rights only extend to the area that she had a salon. So for example, I am in the great state of Michigan. So if she had a salon in Detroit, if she had a salon in Auburn Hills, if she had a salon in, what's another county? Ann Arbor, then her trademark rights would only extend to those geographical areas. They wouldn't have extended to Ohio and Texas and California and Florida. Whereas that federal trademark registration, that's going to give you protection in all the states in the U.S. So that's the big difference. Yeah, she could have, and I'm assuming that England, because I know a lot of our laws and things, the way we go about things came from that part of the country or part of the world. I'm sure she still has common law protection, but that only extends to her kind of limited geographical region, and that doesn't extend to essentially, I would imagine, all of Europe or at least all of England. just a geographical region that she's currently operating in, and maybe she want to expand one day, or she see like in this case, she just wants to get her trademark. And what effectively is happening is L'Oreal is blocking her from doing that. Which again, she may end up winning this thing. I think she has some good arguments. I don't think personally is likely to confusion, but L'Oreal saw an opportunity and they kind of took it, and seems like she's going to be out of tens of thousands of dollars as a result of it. So hopefully this thing doesn't get you know, too up the rear end and approach 100 grand or whatever the case may be. But it very well could do this, as you know, L'Oreal has a deep pockets. I would imagine that L'Oreal attorneys are working at a fraction of the cost. So you guys have to let me know what you guys think about this. Definitely an unfortunate situation, but this is the reality of intellectual property law. Again, kudos to Rebecca. Hopefully she pulls through because I think she has a good argument. But again, 15 years, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Seemed like she was expanding and crashing down just off a missed opportunity. So hopefully you guys got something out of it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for more content like this. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.